We are honored to have him here, and we'd like to thank him for traveling all the way from London to attend our festival. Basil has been working in film since 2001, where he worked on the critically acclaimed Palestinian film Divine Intervention. In 2011, he was named Screen International Magazine's top 10 Arab filmmakers to watch. Since then, he's worked on numerous films, including Bila Tuma, which was screened at our own film festival here last year, and The Idol, which was our opening night feature this year. As many of you know, Ave Maria was nominated for Best Live Action Short at the 2016 Academy Awards. It has been popular on the film festival circuit and has been receiving international attention and acclaim. Ave Maria won Best Short at the Dubai International Film Festival, Best Screenplay at the Grenoble Short Film Festival, Audience Award at the Montpellier Mediterranean Film Festival, and Cinema Without Borders at the Palm Springs International Short Film Festival. He will also be attending several other film festivals where Ave Maria will be screened, including the Chicago and Houston Palestine Film Festivals. Needless to say, we are honored to have him here with us tonight. Please give a warm welcome again to Basil Khalil. I'm going to start by asking a few questions that our organizing committee has for Basil. After that, we're going to open up the floor to questions from the audience. Please form a line with either Rima or Sarah. And if you have a question, please come and ask. All right, we're going to begin. So, Basil, this is a very unique film to be set as a comedy. Can you talk about how you got the inspiration for the story?
So I was brought up in Nazareth, and next to my grandmother's house, there's a massive Carmelite convent that houses only 7 nuns, and they live with a vow of silence. And can you hear me? No? Is this working? Okay. So I was brought up in Nazareth, and next to my grandmother's house was a Carmelite convent that housed 7 nuns who had a vow of silence. And 1 hour a day they're allowed to drink and sing and have fun. And so I thought that was quite funny, because anyone who knows what Nazareth is like, it's a noisy city. And those nuns are living in silence. So I wanted to do a comedy film. And I thought that would be hilarious if we had those silent nuns stuck with some loud Israelis who are having a family squabble. And they have to get along to get rid of each other, not out of love. This is how we get along over there. Or it's hummus.
Food always brings people together. All right, can you actually just talk a bit in regards to the filming process?
So, Ave Maria was written in 2011, and we were fundraising around the world. We got half of the money, but nobody else would give us the other half, because they said, oh, you're going to have nuns and Jews. Oh, no, nobody's going to want to watch that. It's too scary. So we spent 4 years trying to find money for the film, and meanwhile I was rewriting the script so many times that it started as a half-hour film and then it ended up 15 minutes. The process of filming was just 3 days. The interiors were filmed in Haifa because most of the crew were there. And the convent exterior was filmed in an abandoned monastery. So convents are for nuns, monasteries are for men, for monks. This is what I learned. Just remember that. So it's on no man's land between Jericho and Jordan. It's in the middle of a minefield, and we needed permission from the Israeli army. And so we got a Jewish member of the crew to call him up and say, we're doing a National Geographic documentary about Christians. So they gave us 6 hours to film, which normally we filmed for 11 hours, so we had to rush everything, and no lunch breaks, or we were just like eating on the go. We had like 1-2 takes. But we were lucky we had very good actors, and everything was done quickly. And yeah, I mean, because it was rushed, the production manager, her father owns a tahini factory, so she gave everyone big tubs of tahini as a gift for working extra hard. And actually, one of the most difficult things we had was casting the Mother Superior nun, because in the Middle East, women, when they reach a certain age, they laser their eyebrows and tattoo them back on again. And nuns don't do that. They need nice bushy eyebrows. So the Mother Superior, you see, somebody recommended her, and I saw her photo on Facebook, and she had some big, thick eyebrows. And so when I went to meet her, she's like, oh no, I lasered them last week. And it was 3 days before filming, and I was stuck, so she grabbed her mother's reading glasses, big, thick ones, and put them on, done her audition, and she was perfect. I was like, yeah, bring those glasses. So that's why she's wearing glasses in the film. Hiding her McDonald's arches. She was constantly surprised. Yeah, that's it.
All right, we're just now going to open up the floor to audience questions. Please form a line, like I said before. Or yeah, we can just raise your hand and they'll come to you apparently. Okay, perfect. Don't be shy. There we go.
How was the dynamic between the Israeli actors and the Palestinian nuns?
How was the dynamic between the Israeli actors and Palestinian
How did
actors?
you get along? How was the
Oh, it was fine. It was a fun shoot. Yeah. We got along really well.
Okay, so I have a question. Congratulations on being nominated, first of all. My question is, as your movie goes around and travels, it's very obvious that you're traveling to Palestinian film festivals per se. And normally when we have Palestinian film festivals, they are for a very, to present a very strong message, to present the message out there, especially in regards to our struggle as Palestinians and as what we go through and so forth. How do you see your movie contributing to the Palestinian struggle? And what would you, and how would you answer anybody who would watch this and would say, well, this is part of normalization with the enemy?
Well, okay, the first part. So what, like, it's just a piece of entertainment. Not every film has to solve the problems. And this is why I do it. Palestinian taxi drivers are not supposed to solve Palestinian problems either. They just drive people from A to B. And I make movies so people pay money so they can go be entertained and not feel miserable at the end of it. It's just an industry like any other industry. It does have a message though, and the message basically, in Palestine and Israel, when you're born, you're already assigned friends and enemies, and that's not right. So the thing I'd like people to leave is question the rules that are imposed on you. Also, when you're born, you're not born Christian, Muslim, or Jewish, and you don't choose that. What you do choose is a level of extremism. So we've got the nuns who've chosen a life of silence and solitude, and you've got the settlers who've chosen a life of living in occupied land that doesn't belong to them, and being masters of the land. And those are choices they've taken in their adult life. So it's different. As for normalization, I don't know how people would see normalization just because they talk, this could happen any day over there. I didn't make it up. So the settlers roam around the West Bank freely, and if they were to break down in front of a convent, this is what would happen. It would happen. That's it. I mean, if you want Palestinian wants to buy milk, it's an Israeli brand. There's no way around it. So you can't help it. Go ahead.
So I have a quick question and maybe a follow-up if I'm allowed. So it took you a long time to raise the money for the film. I know it's not really bad for you. Where did the money come from? How much did you need?
So we have half of the money from Germany, from an organization called the Robert Bosch Foundation, which is owned by the Bosch company. And the second part was from the French producer, put his own cash, and some in-kind support from Palestinians in Palestine.
Palestinian lay people, like from
Like, yeah, Palestinian people in Palestine, so like they would provide...
Organizations? Or?
No, individuals. It was all like private, so they would provide the catering or provide the hotel and so on.
So my question can be termed in many frameworks, I guess. So I wasn't really keen on Villa Tuma until I heard that the money mostly came from Israeli sources, so that kind of explained a few things. So it has to have mass appeal. So in general, does the source of the funding influence the way the story is told? Because you're very sophisticated. This is a great work, and I respect your right as an artist of telling the story in any way you want, you choose. This is an artist, prerogative. Still, films have a way of humanizing a side, one way or the other. The Israelis do it systematically through the US media or through their own. And you've done a really fine job with this film. At least people know that there are convents in Palestinian areas, at the minimum. But in general, does the source of the funding give you more freedom to tell the story the way you want, or is that a restriction sometimes?
In my experience, there's never been restrictions, mostly in documentaries maybe, or news. Like for instance, even Villa Tuma, they had no interference. Even the fund came from Israel, there was no interference. So, I mean, we didn't get money from any government organization because they didn't believe in us in the first place. So it was fine. But we would have still had the freedom, but maybe they didn't give us because they didn't like it. Who knows?
But you're very comfortable with Israelis, which is kind of unique.
Sorry?
You're very comfortable dealing with Israelis.
Well, I was brought up in Nazareth. There's no way around it.
That's a lot to do with
Yeah.
Very good piece of work. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
But you said you had to rewrite it several times to shorten it. What did you take out, or was there an alternative ending that we didn't see?
So the first time I wrote it, there was a lot of dialogue, and it was I was learning, and I was having a mentor who was helping me with writing. Comedy is so difficult. It's the most difficult thing, and I thought, oh yeah, it's going to be easy. It was like an episode of Friends. Everybody's talking and cracking joke, but like not everybody's going to get it. And my mentor told me that the comedy lies in the lack of communication. So these nuns don't speak, and these people can't shut up, and that's what I had to focus on. So I had to take out a lot of characters. There was the cleaner and her son, and the mechanic and the bus driver, and all these things. I just threw them out, and it's just the silent nuns and the squabbling family that had to work on the visual comedy. So that's, I think that advice was the best advice I had, and I owe that the success of the film because of that, because people around the world understood it, because they saw it. So in screenwriting, when you learn it, it's show, don't tell. Because you can tell it, but somebody's not going to understand it in another language, but when they see it, that makes a difference.
As for the Jewish actors, I know that the jokes are not the jokes, but the comments of the wife were funny to us and entertaining. But do you think it was uncomfortable for them to act it out because there's truth to it? Like for the comment when she said, if we go in with the car, we might get shot because they think we're Arab. Was that uncomfortable, do you think, for them to act that at all, considering there's truth to it?
Absolutely not, because they know that. I mean, I've lived there, and not every Israeli supports the occupation, and they know that for sure. I mean, there was no discomfort. From the first day when I auditioned, and they knew it was a Palestinian film, and they knew what the story was. There was no. They definitely didn't do it for the money because we didn't pay them much. So.
It's funny that you said that in this particular film it was a lack of dialogue that was a comedy, whereas I think I remember in Divine Intervention, the beginning scene was the dialogue and how vulgar it was, and just, I wonder, is it a skill to be able to find humor within grim reality, or is that just something that kind of came naturally to you?
You need to find a sense of humor to survive when it's so grim. And I think the Palestinians have mastered that. In Europe, in the ghettos, the ghetto humor was famous in 30s and 20s for the Jews, and they developed a very good sense of humor to cope. So I think it's just part of the culture of coping. We've got a mic here.
I had a question. I sort of wanted to come to your defense a little bit because, you know, I don't think it was completely just a funny movie. I mean, it was hilarious and it was great, but there were definitely statements in the movie about kind of what's going on in the West Bank. I mean, the statements that were made by the settlers were clearly racist statements. I mean, it's like, we're stuck here with these Arabs. You know, this is your fault. I mean, these are not like benign statements that they're making in the movie, and the only statements to that effect that are being made by them, and that's reality. That's not like, you know.
Yeah, I didn't come up with these. Yeah, it was people talking about that.
But I don't know, it's not maybe fair for me to ask you about this, but what's the significance of the statue falling over at the end? Was there any? I mean, it seemed kind of funny to me also, but I don't know if there was some other significance.
Not really. Somebody, my script advisor said, just here, add a little joke at the end.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe subconsciously it was a message about, I don't know, organized religion. I don't know. I didn't think about that too much. I just thought it would be funny. Okay, go on here.
How did the cast react to each other? I know you had Palestinian cast. I know that very well. That she fights with Israelis down in the old city every day. And how was it for her and the other Palestinian cast to work with the Israeli cast, where we rarely had interactions with Israelis as Jews?
So the cast actually got on really well. The grandmother, she's 88 years old. She's perky and jumpy, and she's like a 16-year-old. You know, she was full of energy and cracking jokes in Arabic, and you know, they were having fun. So the mother superior, her name is Huda, when she bites onto the pickle, the first take she does it very suggestively. It was her idea, and the other nuns were cracking up laughter. So I said, okay, let's do it again. And they were literally pinching themselves not to laugh. And like I cut in the edit exactly where they like spat out or whatever. But yeah, we had a good laugh.
I made the way I saw the movie is when Sutler family is in there, they need help. I thought it was very interesting. They call an Arab taxi driver. They refuse to talk to him. But then when they speak to the Hebrew, or the Hebrew-speaking, the Jewish taxi drivers, they're all trying to take advantage of the situation. And I thought it was very interesting that it's actually the Arab nuns that come to their aid instead of their own side helping them. Was there anything behind that at all, or that's what I got?
Yeah, so in the story, like, the nun has to call a taxi company. She only knows an Arab company because she's Arab, so she calls the one she knows, and then they're like, no, we want a Jewish one, because the Jewish one can go on the Jewish road and go to the settlements. The Arab taxi company cannot take the Jewish road. And so when he does call it, the Jewish company is like, I'm not going to go on a Shabbat and to an Arab area, so they would have charged them that much. So I think that's the reasoning behind it.
Great movie. Thank you very much. I just want to comment. I think that definitely this movie is beyond Palestinians and Jews. One of the most interesting scenes in the movie was when they're drinking water or whatever the nuns brought them. And then the guy freaks out with his mom, you know, when he sees the pork, I think, hanging on the wall, and he totally freaks out. And his mom tells him, get the hell out of here. I want to drink. I'm thirsty. I want to drink. So she, you know, you're showing the stupidity of extremism. And I think this is what we're seeing in the world right now. I mean, this is like when I was looking at that, I was seeing the extremism from this religion, extremism from that religion, and so on. And you showed it in that little, you know, whatever it was, 1 minute scene perfectly. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We once back home, when the idea came to me when I was a child, we used to have this door-to-door salesman who would sell us those water filter taps you put next to the taps so you can drink. And he would do these tests. And he wanted a drink, and he asked us if we had pork in the house, so he could know whether he's allowed to drink from our classes, and that's where the idea came from.
In a world that dehumanizes Palestinians constantly, or tries to dehumanize Palestinians, I think the best political statement you could make is to put a human face on Palestinians. And it's artists like you that produce comedy and entertainment that's going to make us appear more human to the public. So I applaud you and thank you for your efforts. The only question I have is, did you really film it on their holy day?
Did I film it on a holy day?
No, I'm kidding, because they have to act.
No, we made sure. No, well, to your first comment, like you know, it's just show us as normal people. I've had people all in screenings around the world like, oh, we never knew there were Christian Palestinians, or some of them would say, so are these Muslim nuns? And I'm like, what? It didn't mix the Germans. It was a German audience. You should have put in a title or an explanation, Christian nuns. Okay. So the Germans didn't get the humor, but yeah, I mean, you know, one of the burdens of being a Palestinian filmmaker is you always have to, you feel you have to address the struggle. You don't want to just tell normal stories because we're normal people. We have our problems, and then people don't, or Palestinian filmmakers are afraid of addressing or making films that address our problems as well, because we've got problems too, like everyone else. So, yeah, we shouldn't be afraid to address our problems, because a lot of people would criticize us. Now's not the time. We have to solve our occupation, and then we'll address our social problems. But you know, we can't control the occupation. We can control our own problems. So I think we should see more zombie Palestinian movies. Zombie nuns. That's my next one.
Oh, so beyond the politics, what is it about nuns and cars, and what is so funny about nuns and cars? It's reminded me of the the Sound of Music, and
oh yeah.
So it just was cute and funny, but there's always this nuns and cars, and that's my comment. I don't know. And come back to that.
You should see the gas stations in Jerusalem. You go, and there's like a van full of nuns, and they're all singing and having fun. One is filling the gas. It's quite hello.
The Jewish woman, when she broke the statue, she put her scarf around Mary and tried to fix it. It was like even that she didn't want to be there, but she kind of was grateful that these nuns are willing to help. Was that something you intended to show, or?
Well, like she was bored, and she thought, okay, I might as well try and fix it, and that's the approach I had. So, because she refused to go in, she didn't believe there were nuns, and then when the dogs and wild dogs started barking, she's like, okay, yeah, maybe I'll go inside. But also, like, it's a funny thing where around the world people are like criticizing women who put headscarves on, that oh, they're oppressed and so on, but you know, they do it out of choice. And here you've got nuns and a Jewish settler, and they're all got headscarves on. So. Yeah, maybe she felt guilty, maybe she was bored. Yeah.
We have time for about one or two more questions.
Can I ask you, how did the Israelis respond to your film?
They like it. They think it's hilarious. We haven't screened it at festivals yet in Israel, because most of the festivals there they take only Israeli-produced shorts, official Israeli films, and a couple of other ones. There's only one that takes international, but it's funded by the Foreign Ministry, which I refused to be part of. But yeah, they seem to like it. I've got lots of friends who tell me that they got it on iTunes and they watched it and their friends liked it. And they love it so much that the Israeli media is claiming it as an Israeli film. And so are the Saudis too. There was an article in Huffington Post called it Ave Maria, the Saudi film. I know. So what happens to agenda?
I just have a comment. I thought it was cute in showing the differences. You showed the sameness also in the mother-in-law treating the soon-to-be daughter-in-law the way she did. We have plenty of Arab mother-in-laws that treat their daughter-in-laws like that too. So as much as we're different, we're also alike.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, we look alike. I mean,
we're very much alike.
Yeah, you can't tell the difference.
Take one last question.
Basil, in your film, just out of curiosity, why you did not have the Palestinian Authority or the Israeli Authority to come and pick them up?
To come and pick them up because, well, they did try to call the army, and the nun just yanked the phone, so I'm not having the army here. So that's the solution.
Once again, thank you so much for everything, making the trip out here. We really appreciate it. And we give him another round of applause. And Rachel wants to, has a comment about his next feature. So.
No. The next one we're going to watch, 3,000 Nights. It's a drama set in a prison. And the prison warden used to be my Hebrew teacher in school, and she was such a bitch. Just like in the film. Just putting this out there.